Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon, good day, whatever it is. We are currently in 37. I am about to do a pre-trip. I wanted to show you guys a pre-trip. So I gotta go on duty and mark pre-trip. And I am going to connect to my vehicle. 37. In case you're wondering, 10 is still at BlueBird. We haven't gotten it yet. I think it's fixed. I'm just waiting for confirmation from them. All right, let's start a vehicle inspection. Now, I'm showing you our way of doing a pre-trip. So there's a spider that's been living in there. Ugh. I'm showing you our way of doing a pre-trip. So don't, these rocks. So don't follow this as like an instruction for a CDL pre-trip. I'm gonna set my iPad down because believe it or not, that gets in the way. So again, this is not a CDL pre-trip. This is just an us pre-trip. Last weekend, I just went through so many rocks. I'm trying to not have them cause damage to the tires, which there we go. These rocks will get in there, do all sorts of stuff. Anyways, let's go ahead, squeeze in here. We're gonna check everything. This probably should be greased up soon. Yeah, it's some old grease. Ugh. Everything up here looks good. It's wet because I sprayed it down. Check our belts. So something, well, depending on the state, something I've noticed is that they don't have you, on the CDL, they don't have you check belts. I got my CDL in Florida, and I believe in Florida it's still a requirement to check your belts. Yeah, we're full. You also have to like identify which components are gear driven, belt driven. You need to know your alternator, air compressor. Yeah. Make sure all of our stuff's good. That looks good. Everything over here looks good. We got coolant. Gonna need to top that off soon, but I rarely use it. Okay, everything under the hood looks good. Something didn't lock. Nope. Okay. So yeah, today, in case you can't tell, I'm doing a bachelorette party. And I am thankful for that because it is hot and disgusting out here today. Like, it's already 8:45 and it is beyond humid already. And everything looks good. I don't open that one because it gets difficult. This tire's gonna need to get replaced soon. Right now, this is just the initial walk around. Check our tires. Check, make sure we got mud flaps, nothing's leaking, especially DEF. Check our mirror brackets. I gotta replace these too, because these have cracked and they're starting to get a little loose, but it's fine. It passes for now. All right. Yeah, I don't like opening that box. That box is hard to deal with. Okay. Let's toss this disgusting rag away. Yeah, we're still on time. Got my triangles, fire extinguishers charged. Do a quick aisle sweep, make sure the seats, aisles look good. Okay. See, it's so humid that my water is condensating already. Okay. Oh, my door's still open, that's fine though. The rear tank has been just dropping air like crazy. Let's idle it up. So what I'm going to do now are my brake checks. And this is probably the most important inspection of the day. Because I can't go anywhere if I don't have brakes. Ugh, see, that's why I hate wearing these shorts. I get dirt on them. But that's bus driver life. Yeah, 37 has an electronic drain on the rear air tank, so it loves to drain, especially like if it detects a lot of moisture in the system. Like today, it's disgusting. Like, we're gonna be cranking the AC on the way there. And where we're going about hour 40, 45 minutes away. Hour 40 to hour 45 minutes away. So, it's gonna get interesting. But I decided I would vlog and show you a pre-trip, because I don't think I've done that. And again, this is not a CDL pre-trip. Don't use this video to study for your CDL pre-trip. This is the OMT pre-trip. For those of you who are studying your CDL, or you want to get your CDL, there's two pre-trips you have to know. The first one is to pass your CDL, and then once you get your CDL, you have your company's pre-trip. Your company, school district, whoever is going to have a way to do things, and things are going to be a little bit different. So this is the OMT pre-trip. Some things are the same though, like we're doing like our air brake check, so we need to build up pressure to the governor cutout. This bus likes to cut out around 120, 130, but it needs to cut out between 120 and 140. This bus also doesn't like the dryer. It'll start whooshing once the bus warms up, or if it's been running for a while. It may or may not do it. Oh, I can kind of hear it. If you listen closely, it's trying. There we go. See, this one likes to cut out around 140. We'll turn high idle off. We're gonna turn the bus, or we're going to put the bus in neutral. Yeah, we're gonna turn the bus off and back to accessory. It's gonna complain about voltage. And now we're gonna do the applied air leak test. So we're just gonna give it about a minute. Well, a minute for your CDL. This is actually the one thing that is the same. And this is the longest minute of your life, including during CDL testing. Like, I'm not even kidding. This is the longest minute. I wish the Apple Watch would keep the second hands on. I mean, for your CDL exam, this does have to be a minute. DOTS, it should also be a minute. Don't tell them I said that. See, I do it a minute. I'm actually going to go a little bit over because I think I started around here, but I'm going to 15 seconds. Okay, that was good. So we're going to pump it down. And I want the low air. See, around 60. There we go. And now I want the parking brake to pop out. Right around, right before 40. There we go. Okay. I'll start it back up. Okay. High idle. That's good. We'll just do a light check now. Okay. Interior, we got our lights. Those are good. That light's flashing. Stairwell lights, that's the thing about these Visions. Your emergency release has to be off, and then your lights will come on. Now we're just doing a light check. Making sure we got the flashies. And our reflectors. Flashies. Oh, in this case, dimmies. Flashy. Okay, cool. Everything's good out here. And now on these Visions, to turn off light check, you just have to put it in gear. So I throw it in reverse, then back to neutral. So our air is still building. So while that's happening, we're just gonna check our emergencies. Roof hatch. That buzzer sounds lovely. Yeah. As long as it buzzes and opens. And this one latches. Cool. All right, we are good there. There's my iPad. Oops, I gotta redo those cables. No, I got sticky stuff on my iPad. Okay. Oh, and we need to see, I'm doing this for you guys, so I'm doing things not in the order I would normally do it. So we're gonna check our defrost. So I have it on defrost. Yeah, it's on defrost. Low, medium, high. Our defrost works. We're gonna check fan. That works. I never use that fan. That fan's also kind of optional. We got this fan here too. That also helps us defrost and AC. We're gonna check our washers and wipers. Look at that, they work. We checked our lighting, we checked our wheels, so we're just gonna start pre-trip. Mirrors, windshield, got one. Lighting, reflectors, rims, all this stuff, horn. Steering, we know works. Turn signal 4 ways, we know that works. Parking brakes, service brakes, radio. Plugged in. Windshield washer, air conditioning, heating, mud flaps, safety vest, all that stuff's up in there. Look, door works. All this stuff is good. Save it. And we are pre-tripped. And that took us about 15 minutes, which is what you want. That's how long a pre-trip should take. Should be anywhere between 10 and 15 minutes. So next, I gotta do some other stuff inside the house, and I'll come back out and right when we're on our way to go. All right, let's get this show on the road. And roll. Yeah, we got an hour 44. We're gonna be getting there right on time. Oh, it is so humid. Oh, it is so humid. Nice thing is these air conditioners work really well. So anyways, I'm actually leaving a little bit later than I wanted to because I forgot to bring the water. I forgot to put the water in, which is absolutely something I would do. Oh, somebody hit that sign. Okay. We are good to go. I think I got everything. So that's the thing that I like about doing these trips. It's not overnight. I'm gonna be back this evening anyways. So it's like if I forget anything, I can survive without it for a little while. It's not a big deal. So anyways, I hope you guys have been having a good summer. I've been doing everything I need to do to get my school bus endorsement and start training for school bus driving. I know it's ridiculous. The more I say it, like training to drive a school bus, it's like what do you think I'm driving right now? Functionally, this is a school bus. The only thing I don't have are, you know, stop signs and 8-way warning lights. Otherwise, this is a school bus. So, the head of training at the school district said that basically it's going to be real easy for me to get my hours because nobody has to watch me. You know, I just have to have a, you know, certified trainer on the bus with me, and that's pretty much it. Like, I just have to rack up 14 hours of driving behind the wheel, and well, guess what? I'm a licensed CDL driver. The only thing I need is my school bus endorsement, and you know, I looked up the law, and according to FMCSA, and to my knowledge, Virginia has not overridden the law, because Virginia actually has a blanket law that says whatever FMCSA says for commercial vehicles, that applies to the state level as well. And according to FMCSA, because a school bus is a Class B commercial vehicle, and you need a passenger endorsement because it's got seats, anybody with a Class B CDL can drive a school bus. Well, with passenger endorsement and air brakes, anybody can drive that who's licensed appropriately, as long as you are not picking up or transporting students or for a school function. So if it's like a school function or a school sponsored event, I legally couldn't drive the school bus for that, like as is, like right now. But if I just want to, you know, if I need to ferry a school bus from, you know, the dealer to the maintenance facility, it's totally legal to do that without an S endorsement. I just can't pick up any kids. That's fine. I can drive an empty school bus on my CDL, which is why they're not too worried about it. I just have to go to the DMV, take the test, get the learner's permit. I have to do all that before I have to test. So, because when I go to test, the examiner is going to ask you for your current license, your learner's permit. So I have to have my learner's permit for that. They're going to make sure that I've had it for at least 14 days. And then I can go do my CDL test again. I already got a line of cars behind me. Ay, ay, ay. This is the earliest I've went out on a trip. Normally these things don't start until like around noon. Usually noon or 11 I head out. Okay, did you have to cut that close in front of me? Ay, ay, ay. This is still technically a 70. That's going to be the biggest adjustment for me. So school buses are not allowed to go the full speed limit. So like on the highway here, they're, I believe, maxed out at 55. Or I think 65 is the fastest you can go. Unless it's posted 65, then you have to do like 55. I forget, I need to check it. All I know is that school bus drivers cannot go the actual posted speed limit. As not a school bus, I can go the posted speed limit. So that's that's something to take into consideration, and what's probably going to burn me. So I'm going to be like, wait, am I in a school bus or am I driving charter? Nah, it's not that big of a deal. You know. I mean, I can look up and I can see that I have the nice fancy seats, and these charters are usually pretty quiet. Today might be the exception because it is a bachelorette party and we're going to wineries. So, yeah. Yes, everyone, cut in front of the bus. Which causes a chain reaction. See, I have to let off the accelerator because they're in my stopping distance. Yeah, I need to increase it a little bit more. It's the chain reaction. And this is why you shouldn't cut off a bus or a commercial vehicle. Woo! I'm supposed to keep... we gotta slow down anyways because I can't move over. Because legally you're supposed to slow down or move over for vehicles like that. And I had a bunch of people off to the side, so I couldn't move over, so I had to slow down. And when you slow down, that causes people behind you to get all angry, move over. And like I was saying before that, you know, I need to leave distance in front of me. And so when you cut me off, I have to increase my following distance. And because I increase my following distance, I'm slowing down, which is causing the people behind me to get upset that I'm slowing down, and then to cut around, causing me to have to increase my following distance yet again. And I'm sure for those of you who drive or, you know, watch people drive, drivers have been getting really bad. I mean, it seems like since 2020, like when the pandemic happened, everyone forgot how to drive because they weren't driving. And then they never recovered from it. Because let me tell you, the stuff I have seen on these trips these last few weeks and even beyond that, it's just ridiculous. Right lane ends, so I'm putting my blinky on. Thank you, Tesla. This lane does not end, or it doesn't end soon. So I'm fine here. Mr. Tesla can scooch past. And this is why we installed cameras on the bus. It's mostly to protect us from people like Marilyn right there, who, number one, isn't using a turn signal, and number two is just hanging out next to the bus. Now, I like to wave to bus drivers. I didn't catch that first one in time, but I like to wave to other bus drivers. Anyways, I don't like hanging out in this lane because people are trying to exit and enter the highway, and it gets kind of crowded. So I like to be over one, but I can't get over because I got a car. I can get over now, but we're gonna scan ahead and everything looks good, so no one's coming, I don't think. Nope, we're good. So take it from me, for those of you who are interested in getting your CDL, looking to get your CDL, you need to scan ahead. I think the manual says like 10 to 15 seconds ahead. I say 15 to 30 seconds ahead. And that's because you need to anticipate what's coming. I'm looking ahead for slow traffic. I'm looking ahead for traffic that's merging. Something that was taught to me was drive for 5. And that's one of the best defensive driving lessons to be taught. Drive for 5. Not only are you driving for yourself, you're driving for the person in front of you, directly behind you, to your left and to your right. So that means if someone ahead starts slowing down, tap on your brakes. Get the people behind you to notice that you're slowing down. Be aware of people merging. You know, coming up, sneaking on your right side. Watch people on your left side. Like if you're trying to merge over, you know, give them that courtesy signal. I mean, you should be giving them a courtesy signal anyways, which is about 3 flashes. Let them know, hey, I'm coming over, I need to get over. And you need to anticipate those lane changes ahead of time. Anyways, I don't mean to turn this into a CDL driving lesson, which I'll do that if you want. If you guys want like a CDL training course, well, I shouldn't call it a training course. Call it BlueBird Driver Dude's Best Effort CDL Study Guide. Something to... So you can't come after me if you watch my videos and you fail your CDL and you're like, well, you said to do it this way and I did it that way and I failed. No, I gave you best effort. Read the manual. I don't know if you saw that, but when I was looking over, checking my mirrors, there was a pretty colorful truck over there. It looks like it had graffiti on it. That's Hirschbach. They are a pretty major trucking company. And for those of you who don't follow trucking news, they ordered 500 of the Aurora self-driving trucks. And they have a pretty major shipping lane in the southwest. It's like around Texas. And 500 trucking jobs at least from Hirschbach are going to be automated in the next few years. I don't necessarily agree with the automation of trucking jobs, well, jobs in general. You know, technology is going to progress, but we should be using it to improve. So, like what Hirschbach is doing, they're spinning it a different way. They're saying, oh, it's gonna, you know, allow drivers to do more. No, it's meant to replace driver jobs. It drives down wages in the industry. Now again, this is also just my opinion. You may agree or disagree with me, that's perfectly fine. I'm just sharing my opinion. You know, I believe automated trucking is for these large trucking providers to get rid of jobs so they can, you know, save money, which means, you know, more profit in the bank, really. Instead of paying a driver, I mean, those guys usually get paid by the mile, but instead you could, instead of paying a driver, you know, an hourly wage, you can now pay somebody, you know, maybe like, I mean, I don't really know what some of these truckers do, since, you know, if you're paid by the mile and some are paid by the load, there's all different kinds of pay scales in trucking. Now, company drivers might get an actual hourly wage. Owner ops might get per mile. There's some company drivers that might get per mile as well. But what was I saying? Oh, hourly wage. So however you do the math, instead of paying some, you know, like let's say a trucker's getting paid like $35, $40, $50 an hour, maybe if they're really senior, you can now pay them 25 bucks an hour to just sit in the passenger seat and put fuel in the truck when it needs it, or do a pre-trip inspection. Because in theory, it's like you just do one pre-trip and you're good. You're set until, you know, the truck doesn't have to take breaks. It doesn't have a mandatory rest period. It doesn't have a 30-minute break. It doesn't have to stop when it runs out of hours. There are no hours. And then, you know, you look at Waymo. They're starting with just, you know, automating taxi services and Ubers. You know, they're automating the low-level stuff. And then in some cities, like I don't know if Orlando still has them, but I think they were being tested there. They had like these little mini pods that hold up to like 5 people, completely autonomous, no driver. And they're being put on some smaller fixed bus routes. So, and that's only going to scale up. You know, what happens when you now are making a pod that can hold 50 or 80 people? Well, that's a bus. So, you know, I really feel for the city bus drivers, transit operators. You know, I would be pushing back against any of that automated stuff. Because, you know, these vehicles, I mean, sure, they're doing just full electric, because that's the easiest to automate. Hirschbach is actually having diesel trucks, fully automated diesel trucks. And so, you know, it could come to the bus industry. You know, what's, you know, a fixed route, you can just stick an automated bus on it. You know, that's what's going through these companies. So, like, I don't think it's going to happen to school buses. Or if it does happen, there's always going to be an adult on a school bus. But it's a fixed route. And on fixed routes, you can automate that. I don't agree with it. You should not automate it. You should have a trained professional in the seat that knows what the vehicle is doing, can understand what is going on with the vehicle. Because as you're driving a vehicle, you know what's going on with it. You can detect problems before a warning light pops up. You can feel the way the vehicle drives and understand that there's a problem. And that's the issue I have with autonomous vehicles, especially commercial vehicles, besides taking jobs away. You know, the big thing is like it's safety. They always say, oh, we're doing this for safety, we're doing this for safety. A person who drives the vehicle daily knows that vehicle inside and out, can tell you exactly what's wrong with that vehicle. A computer can only read sensors and data. I've driven buses where, you know, something started feeling a little off just from driving it. You know, something felt weird, something sounded a little bit different. Because it's like, if I have a little air leak, I'm gonna hear that when I'm doing my pre-trip. The computer's not gonna pick that up unless there's, you know, a measured flow rate. Like, there's gotta be a flow rate of air or a significant loss of pressure. Otherwise, it's gonna be like, oh yeah, you know, everything's fine. But, you know, that's something that you should get checked out. I don't know if I mentioned it in some of my earlier videos, but like when we got this bus, I noticed like the air dryer wasn't like purging properly. And that's one of those things where it's like, you know, it needs to purge. So I, you know, took it in, got it looked at. First mechanic said, yeah, nothing's fine, charged me a bunch of money. Took it to BlueBird, and they were like, they looked at it, and they did adjust it. They did touch something. And they also found an exhaust leak too, which they fixed. But those are the things that autonomous vehicles can't pick up on. Something happens mid-route, you don't know until it's too late. Or there's changing conditions. Like, my whole thing is these autonomous vehicles are being they're being programmed and tested by people who don't understand the non-city life. Like, I have taken buses on dirt roads, back roads, roads that I don't even think really qualify as roads. And in a lot of cases, autonomous systems will say, I have no lines, I don't know what I'm doing, and freak out, or say this isn't a road, and, you know, refuse to drive on it. And that's why I think, like, the charter business, the charter industry, so for like what my company does, we're safe because we do a lot of custom trips. We go a lot of places that, you know, things change on the fly. Like, there is no fixed schedule. You know, like, I have a trip sheet that says, you know, I'm going to A, B, C, and D. Well, sometimes the guest is like, hey, we actually only need to go to A and B. An autonomous bus is going to be like, no, we're going to A, B, C, and D, whether you like it or not. And it might screw up timings. Then you know, you got to call somebody in an office somewhere to get it fixed. And it's like, well, that's not going to happen. So that's just something to, I know I've ranted about it now for a bit. But yeah, that's just something to, you know, keep in mind. And I'm telling this to you guys who are thinking about getting your CDLs for a reason. The industry is changing, but don't let that scare you. Large companies, I mean, I've worked for several large companies, not as a driver, but in various positions, like IT. For those of you who are completely unaware, because I don't really share it too much, but my background is IT. And if you know anything, if you've been following IT, you know, AI has taken over the industry. Companies are laying off software developers because, well, they don't need software developers. AI writes the code. Even system administrators, like the job I do, like my other day job, is being a system administrator. Even that is starting to get automated. Not at the company I'm at, but like large companies. They're automating it. And of course it's, you know, it's causing problems. But large companies will step over a dime to save a penny. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but large companies they only look a quarter ahead. And if they can save money this quarter to make that line on the graph go up, they do it. So that's why I won't work for a large company again. Same thing with just like the human side of it. You know, for those of you who are looking to join a large company, let me dissuade you by just saying you are a number. So I worked for the major hospital system around here back in 2019, right at the start of 2020, in IT. And I was not a person. I was an ID number on a spreadsheet. What kind of cemented that I never wanted to work for a large company ever again was that I was on a call, no, I was on an email chain. I was on an email chain with another team. And the person on the other team was like, hey, I need some more resources for this. And I was thinking like resources, like more server resources, like more CPU, more RAM, more storage, faster networking. No, not at all. Resources were people, humans, a body and a seat. That's what a resource was. And then it kind of dawned on me. Companies have human resource departments, HR. Resources. Human resources. And that put me off. Like that really turned me off. Like, you're not a person to a large company. You're literally just a line item on a spreadsheet. You have a salary, you cost them X amount of money, and if they can't justify spending, X amount of money for you, they boot you. They either fire you or lay you off. They find a reason to get rid of you. So that's why, like, even in this company, we don't have an HR department. Well, I mean, it's a small company, but we have a services department, team member services. I mean, am I employee? Yes, my badge says employee on it. But at the end of the day, the company sees us as a team. We are a team working together. I am a team member. What you would call HR, team member services, they provide services for the team members. That's why it's team member services. Payroll, it's a service it's a service for the team members. So that's why I will never work for a large company again. Like, and I'll also say there are some small companies out there that are not worth working for. So keep that in mind. Like, for those of you who want to be bus drivers, I could not work for Academy. Too large. I could not work for Flixbus. Too large. I mean, Flixbus is international. And when you go international, because for a brief moment in time, I worked for literally an international company. The company that acquired the company I was working for, this was many, many, many years ago. They had offices in the UK. They were headquartered in the US, but they had offices in the UK. So technically I worked for an international, and things were bad. I stuck it out because thankfully the company that took us over let the company that I worked for kind of do our own thing. So they were pretty much hands off, which was wonderful. That was the only reason why I didn't quit. But that's why I could not see myself working for Academy. Because if I was a driver for Academy, now no disrespect to anyone watching this who drives for Academy. If you do and you like it, great. I'm not knocking that. Me, my personality, I don't fit in large companies. I like to know everybody on the team. I like to, be able to get to know you and joke around. And it's like that at the school district. It's not a large district. I'm getting to know the office staff. I'm getting to know the mechanics. And I like that. For a large company, again, academy. You know, as if you're a driver there, you know, do you know anybody outside of your home base? How many drivers do you know in your home base, your home terminal? You know, the management, besides your direct line of management, do you know any of them? Do you talk to them? Can you talk to them? Or do they just come around and, you know, intimidate? Are they pushing metrics and numbers instead of, you know, customer service? And, you know, that's the thing, like the company, the bus company that, you know, I'm with, we don't push for metrics. You know, I'm under no pressure and no obligation to hurry up if something is unsafe. I mean, every company is going to say it publicly, but we all know that there are companies that will take shortcuts. I mean, you can see right here, I'm going to be arriving at 10:53/10:52. It's technically supposed to be there at, you know, 10:45. But it's not a big deal. This, you know, we had a built-in buffer time, so like 10:45 was like the earliest. As long as I'm there before 11, we're good. You know, I've seen companies, it's really the large companies, they will cut corners. You know, they'll keep a bus in service longer than it should. They'll say, yeah, just run it, even though it shouldn't be ran. Like, we're a real stickler for safety here. Like, if anything is even remotely off, take it to the shop. We get it looked at. Because it's better to play it safe than it's, you know, it's better to be safe than sorry. And that's what we do. Like, we do what we need to do to keep our operations safe, keep our passengers safe. If something's off, we get it looked at, we fix it. And that's why I love working for small businesses. So like, if you can find a small bus company, you're not going to get paid like really well, but you are going to be treated so much better. You know, like that's the big thing, being treated well. You know, I mean, some of you might be looking to join a big company, or maybe that's the only thing that you can do. Nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. I'm just saying from me, my personality, I cannot work for large companies. I go against the grain. Okay, Speedy Gonzalez. I'm only speeding because I have cruise control on and I'm going downhill.